in there. Wait for some people to get on here, man. Junk Heathens, where are you at? Share. Took me forever to get this thing set up, man. 9 minutes late. 10 minutes late. Junk Heathens. Can't believe it took me so long to get set up, bro. I know I'm 10 minutes late. I apologize. I'm terrible at this. I know I just started going live last week, like 2 weeks ago. Wait for a few people to get in. Wait for a few people to get in here, and then we can start talking about how to stay busy during the slow season, or how I stay busy in my business. Wait till at least like 7, 8 people in here. What's going on, man? How y'all doing? I don't know why it's not telling me who's in here. Again, I apologize for being late setting this up. I know there was some people waiting in here. There's like 10 people waiting in now. We have like 2 or 3. Live chat. We'll give it a couple minutes. What time are you going? We're live right now. We are live right now. Well, I messed this up. There were people waiting, and I was 10 minutes late, so we'll wait till we got at least a few people in here so I could start. There were some people reaching out to me on IG earlier. Is there a way that I can send or announce on IG that I am live without going off screen here? No. We'll give it like 30 seconds, then I'll start since we got a few people in here. Where you guys from, man? Where are you guys from? Last time we had Minnesota in the house, California, Idaho, Georgia. Where are you guys from? All right, I'm just gonna start now, man. So what's up? So the topic I wanted to talk about tonight, and what I feel like a lot of people have been reaching out to me for on other social media platforms, especially IG, is and even people I've been talking with on my Zoom calls, or how to stay busy during the slow season. For most places, the slow season starts in December. For me, when I was in business, I went through 3 Novembers, and every one of them were pretty profitable. Wasn't super slow in either of them. But it's like when December hit, everything changed. Like the whole I would go from making 20K 25K in November to making like 6K in December. Like my first year in business, I want to say we did around 20,000 in November, and then I turned around and like it was like 4,000 in December, and I had no idea what happened. I was probably spending a little bit more money than I should at the time, and it got a little out of hand, and I was running low right out the gate. I started my business my first year in business. I started in June, and so I started right in the busy season. So June, July, August, September, October, November, I had 6 fantastic months. And then as soon as December hit, it was like, yo, what the hell just happened? And I almost went broke 7 months into business, if I'm being 100% honest. December hit, January was the same thing. I want to say I made like 4K in December, then I made like 2K in January, and that was because we had like a small hoarder clean out or whatever. Esul, what's going on, man? Alan from Minneapolis, on the way to a job. Love to hear it. Yes, sir. Go get that money, man. Absolutely. But yeah, man, back to what I was saying. Like, December and January were the absolute slowest months for me. February, we would start to pick back up a little bit. But after that first year, man, I made it kind of a mission to make sure that that did not happen again. So what I did was going into year two. So when February hit and March, those would be decent months. Let's say if my biggest month in my first year was 20K, February and March would be like 10 to 15K months. So still within the first year, those are still really good months. And then it would ramp back up as April, May, all those months hit. Typically, May and June, not to get too much off topic, but May and June were some of my biggest months. May and June was always good. July would slow down a little bit. August, September, they would pick right back up. So what I did going into the second year after after the first year, when we would get into when we started getting, October came, November, I started to game plan how to make sure that I still had jobs and that I was still staying busy. First things first, I made sure I saved money. So tip number one from any of this, as we're going into the slow season, as I'm telling my students, as we're gearing up to launch this program, which is why I'm launching the program when it is so people can see what the slow season is like. I don't want I could have launched this, I could have launched my course right in the beginning of, you know, the great season, right around, March, April of last year when I was getting all the research done. But I'm like, as I was selling my business and going through it, I'm like, let's get closer to slower season. It's going to cool down. It's going to give people more time to prepare, see what's going on. And the people that's just now hopping into the business, which I'm sure there's a few of you in here, a couple of you in here that's newer. This is the best time to network and build your education. Absolutely. Like, this is the time to slow down. You're not going to have as many jobs. So you want to prepare yourself and set yourself up for this time next year. So back to my story. What I started doing when like September and October rolled around, I really started getting out and networking. So I went crazy on getting the commercial contracts. Commercial contracts were key to keeping me in business because no matter how good my SEO was or no matter how good my Google ads went, it's going to be slow for mostly everybody. But the difference between the businesses that last and the bigger businesses that continue to do 5 6 figure months in 5 6 figure months in junk removal consistently around the slow season are the ones that have commercial contracts, like hands down. Those commercial contracts are going to be the ones where they call you, once or twice, multiple times a month to come and get jobs. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to charge more for those jobs, and those jobs are going to usually be pretty big. So, like, I had two apartment complexes going into that second year. I had two that would call me at least 2 to 3 times a month, and then I had one or two other ones that called me once. On top of that, I had two storage unit contracts in place as well. And when I say contracts, I don't necessarily mean a written contract. Out of all the contracts, commercial contracts I had, maybe I had like 9 or 10 that I ever did, but ones that would call me back and we would do it consistently I had about 5 or 6 of them. So I had two that would call multiple times a month, and then I would have, another few that would call me every 3 months or something. But those two that called multiple times a month and those storage units, they brought me money throughout the whole winter. So maybe off Google ads, I would do $3,000, you know what I'm saying? Just breaking even from what I was probably spending during that time. I think I was probably spending around 3K on Google ads a month. Right around when we get around there, those commercial jobs would kick in because the evictions don't stop in the winter for businesses. People don't stop putting trash and illegally dumping at apartment complexes. That stuff continues to go on. So even though our business is slowing down, that paid business, that residential business, those commercial businesses, they still have that stuff going on. So they still have to call you and get the jobs done. So the second year, instead of me going from 15, 20K going, back down to 4K and 2K, I believe in my second year, the December was more of like 13K and January was over 10 still. And for me, that was fine. My monthly expenses weren't anywhere near 10K. I believe they were around like 4K, maybe 3. So to be profitable 6 to 7 grand in the super slow season was everything. So, one of the biggest tips in this whole thing is you've got to get your commercial contracts up. You got to use this time right now to go and get those commercial contracts and make sure that you're holding those relationships. If you don't have any commercial contracts and you're brand new in this business, you're going to be extremely slow. The people that aren't slow are the people that's been in business with those contracts, and the people that have been 5 to 10 years, whatever, and they have repeat customers coming back, and they're not, it's not going to be a super big deal to them. They've already been new to this. So if you can make it through your first, your first and your second slow season, I think you'll last in this business. I do. But this slow season is going to test you coming up if you're brand new to the game, for sure. You guys got any questions or anything? Just drop them down in the chat there. Like I said, I'm new to this live stuff, so see what y'all got going on, man. Away to a job, Minneapolis. What time? What time is it there? It's 7:20 here, so you guys in, I don't know what time zone that would be. You guys might be like an hour behind or something. eSoul services. I wish there was a way I could stay on here and go to IG and let people know I'm still going live. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next point. Apart from getting those commercial contracts, and a lot of these tips are gonna be boots on the ground, man. Central. That's what I figured. Yeah, Central Standard Time. I had a couple of Zoom calls from people up in that region. And the second point I wanted to touch on, man, was your boots on the ground. Your boots on the ground method. So going into these businesses and really, do you have a dump license to operate your business in your state? No, we don't need a dump license because we are not. We're not driving any big vehicles over like 26,000 pounds. I'm sure the garbage truck guys and those big companies have to have licenses. But as far as what we have going on, 9 times out of 10, our GVWR isn't over 20,000 or anything like that. We don't need any dumping licenses in Ohio, as far as I know. I never had one, and I did the research, so should be good to go. What state are you in, Josh? I'm in Ohio. Where are you at? Dump license. As far as I know, one of the main states is California. I know that you got to jump through hoops to do trash hauling for sure. When you get in the southern states, it's a lot more free, a lot more free just in general and everything. Midwest, it depends on what state you're in. You may have a couple of different licenses or small things you have to get. But as far as Ohio, nothing insane. Back to my point of the second tip. The first tip was to get those commercial contracts to last you through the winter. Networking right now. We are in October. You guys still have about a good month and a half before it gets here. Go to your local storage unit complexes, assisted livings. Go to your apartment complexes, local businesses. Like, dude, that's everything. That's everything right now. Get out there and do it. And my second point was your local businesses. Google Ads and SEO is fine, but SEO takes time. You're going to have to beat your competition out. People that's been doing this 10 years, 5 years, 15, 20 years. You're brand new to the business. It's going to take time to even get in the top 10, in a lot of places because there's junk removal companies popping up everywhere. So that thing takes time. Same things when you're running Google Ads. I'm not a massive advocate for running your own Google Ads unless you absolutely know what you're doing. I'm in New Jersey. Everyone needs an A90. Exactly. New Jersey, I know is one. New York, certain parts of pretty much if you're in New York City or Manhattan or any of the boroughs, you got to have licenses. California, you got to have licenses. Not sure about anywhere else, but those massive cities for sure. LA, I think. I could be wrong though. Well, that's part of California. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Google Ads, I'm not a massive advocate on you doing your own Google Ads unless you know what you're doing, man. You're going to spend so much time and so much money trying to figure out how the algorithm works, how your meta areas works, all those type of things. It's not worth all that time. You're trying to build a small local business to start making you some money. Branch that stuff out. If you have $5,000, $4,000 or $5,000 put back so you can get a marketing company that does this every single day. You don't have to get the most expensive one, but go to the junk removal groups, go places like that, and ask who's a good marketing person. People are gonna know who that is, and I'm a big advocate for getting a marketing team. Let them handle that. You're gonna waste thousands of dollars and spend hours upon hours trying to figure out Google Ads. Figure out another way to do that. Have you used Angie's List? Yeah. When I started out, I used Angie's List, and I did get a few jobs with Angie's List. What in the world? Hold on. Sorry, guys. That's my puppy. Let me go make sure that he's all right. He's tripping. You guys hear that? I'll be right back. What's going on, buddy? What are you doing? What in the world? You alright, buddy? Oh my goodness. Lily, you okay? All right. Oh my goodness. My puppy done broke. Wait, hold on. My puppy done broke out of his cage and had his head stuck between the gate for my daughter and the door. Had his head stuck. I don't even know how that happens or how he broke out of his cage, but um yeah, so back to what I was saying, Angie's List. Um with Angie's List, I hated it from the jump, dude. As soon as I signed up, like as soon as I registered my business, within a week I got a call from Angie's List talking about what they offer. They called me like they need a job. Like in the beginning when they first reached out to me, they were like, hey, do you do junk removal for this area? Can you get do these jobs? And then they kind of finessed me into, okay, we're Angie's List. I didn't know what it was in the beginning, so obviously I'm like, okay, I can sign up and do this. That is the biggest ripoff, company to take advantage of you in any type of way I've ever seen in my life. I had a buddy that actually worked for Angie's List, for a while, and their practices are terrible, man. Like it's terrible. You can get jobs, don't get me wrong, you can get jobs from it, but essentially what they do is they'll send you a job and they'll send about, all of the other contractors in your area. So if there's one other contractor, if there's 10 other contractors, they're sending that job when somebody submits a request, they send that job to every one of those contractors. And whoever gets to it first and wins the job is the one who, gets the job. So you may have to pay $20 to $30 for that request that client submitted. And if you don't get the job, you still have to pay. Like you're competing with 10 other people paying $30 for that one job, and you're probably not going to get it. And I just think that's a horrible practice. You know what I mean? Like it'd be one thing if it was just you and one other person, but they send it to every contractor in the area. And to me, that's insane. So it didn't last very long. After about 3 weeks, I got a couple of jobs. I broke even and I got out of it. I'm an advocate for Thumbtack though. I like Thumbtack. It's a much watered down version of that. They actually do. There may be like they're only going to shop out jobs between you and maybe one or two other contractors. So I made some good money from Thumbtack. Kind of the same thing, but not really. If you're just getting going and you have a small advertising budget, I would go with Thumbtack if you're going to do any of them. Would you recommend a box truck or a truck with dumper trailer? Truck with dumping trailer. Matter of fact, before I just hop in, whatever fits you best. So if you don't have a lot of money but you have a pickup truck, do a pickup truck. If you just have maybe $1,200, go get a basic trailer and hook it up and build up the walls. I'm obviously going to say a truck with a dump trailer. To me, that's the most efficient. You can look really good with it. Heck, a box truck can look good too, but the days of finding a $5,000, $6,000 box truck that runs fine is over. Like you're going to pay 15K or more for a decent box truck, and probably way more than that. 2 or 3 years ago, you could get a box truck for $6,000 and be fine. Those days are over with. So I'm gonna say truck and dump trailer for sure. That's what I tell my students. That's what I tell people on consulting calls. Truck and dump trailer. I may be a little biased, but you know. Um, what was I talking about before my dog got his head stuck in the gate? We were talking about boots on ground with the businesses. Slow season, get in there, bro. Like, so when you're first starting your business, and the only reason I speak on that, even though I was only in the business for a couple or a few years, is I was a small business banker before this. So I worked with a lot of small local service-based businesses. So I see, electricians, plumbers, people's getting their businesses started, car lot owners, and I see what they had to go through. And also saw the bank accounts of the one and sat down and talked with people that were in the game for 20 plus years. And I see how the good ones did and the bad ones did. So after seeing all that and implementing it into mine, and I feel like that's why I kind of got a kickstart out the gate, is because I had a little bit of, knowledge behind it, which is why I say education is key over everything else. Um, your face recognition in your small community or wherever you live at is everything. Google Ads is great. SEO is great, website's great. That's all cool, fine, dandy. It's gonna get your phone to ring. But as far as you lasting in your first business you build or any business you have, a service-based business, you gotta be the one that rings in people's heads, period. Like, bar none over everything else in this world. Like, when people think junk removal, they gotta, when you hear think junk removal, you're the 1-800 got junk stuff. When you think of carpet cleaners and stuff, you think of Stanley Steamer is your, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to be that person. That should be your number one goal. Your number one goal shouldn't be to scale your business to $12 million in your first year. Like, all that stuff's great, but you burn out and the chances of you lasting isn't going to be very high. You're probably going to do really, really good, give it all you got, and then before you know it, you're going to have more than you can handle. And then next year, you know, likely you're doing less revenue and you're right back where you started. So the main thing in junk removal, period, is to have your name and your face recognized by everyone in your community. And that's a big gem right there. Like, seriously. Everybody talks about Google Ads. Everybody thinks about paid marketing and looking good. I'm a guy who likes to look good, the uniforms and all that. Dude, you need to get in every single business in your area, whichever areas and cities you service. A lot of you are from smaller areas surrounding a big city. Go to your small areas, to all your local businesses on the regular, and just be in there wearing all your stuff all the time. You know what I mean? Like, when I first started my business, heck, all together, I'm wearing my uniform. I'm wearing my apparel everywhere I go. It doesn't matter unless I'm going out to like a nice meal or something. I'm wearing it everywhere I go. So your recognition, getting out there, boots on the ground, is is how you're gonna last for real. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're going to last by people recognizing your face over anything else. All the paid advertising is cool, but what you see is, like, you see a lot of people who seasoned in the game. I ain't gonna say no names, but in the junk removal community, you see a lot of guys in the Facebook groups and on YouTube talking about how they've never used paid marketing. They've been in the game 10 to 20 years. Two things with that. First thing, yes, you did do that, but the competition has changed so much in the last 2 to 3 years. You can't just start a junk removal business and not do paid advertising anymore. Like, and do it full time. It's not going to happen. There's way too much competition. Even over in this last year, it's doubled, damn near tripled as many businesses there are. Like, if you go look at your businesses, junk removal registered businesses in your state of 2022 compared to 2023, it's insane. You wouldn't even believe it. And then that's just the ones that are registered, not even compared to the ones that are not registered. You know what I mean? So get out there and get your name. Like I said in my last live, do parades. If there's a parade in your city or in surrounding cities, call your chamber of commerce. Let them know that you want to be in the parade. You know what I mean? It doesn't cost a lot of money. Get out there in your truck. Get out there in your trailer, your dump truck. Drive it down. If there's a local sponsor a kid's a youth football team or a youth sports team. Put your pay for the shirts, pay $200 for the shirts, and put your logo on the back of the shirt. You see on a lot of high school fields or a lot of softball, baseball fields, whatever, basketball courts, you see the banners that go up on you know what I mean? All those things are things that people are just like not worried about. Everybody's worried about doing paid ads and that type of stuff. That's not how you last long term in junk removal. It may help you out the gate and it may get you going, but the companies out there doing millions of dollars in revenue, yes, they're paying a shit ton in ads, but I would say over 40% of their revenue is repeat customers. The Sam guy from Junk Removal Authority that was doing 20 million a year in revenue at his 1-800 Got Junk franchise, he set the record. Dude, repeat customer was like 40% of their revenue per year. Get out there and get known in your community, number one, over anything. And this is the time to do it right now. Right now is the time for you to get out. And it's uncomfortable. Like, let me not play it down. It's uncomfortable, even for me. You know what I'm saying? I talk a lot. I like to think I can, do a little business. But when I walk into a place and I'm trying to give people my business card or talk business, and it's another small business or a realtor office, you got everybody looking at you. Some of the secretaries might be a little bit of assholes, whatever. It's uncomfortable. There's gonna be a couple of people that, they're like, nah, we're not interested. But you got to get past that. You know what I mean? You're the owner of your business. You're gonna have employees that test you. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have people that look at you crazy. You're gonna have clients cuss you out at some point. You gotta let that stuff blow over. Get in there. The object of this game is to get people to know your face. So go into the local hair salons, the local barber shops, the local restaurants. Let them know what you do. Let them know that you serve people all around through here, other businesses and things like that. Hey, this is my card. If you ever need anything, this is what I offer. You know what I'm saying? It could be 20, 30 seconds. It don't got to be nothing crazy. And you'll get better as you go. You know, a lot of people are like, ain't no way I'm walking into this place. I don't know anybody in here and doing that. Well, you're going to get your ass kicked. You're going to get your ass kicked in competition. Like, the competition's going to sweep you up. And this time next year, you're going to be like, yeah, man, junk removal wasn't for me. And that's the truth about it, man. That's the truth. I done seen it. I done seen it. I've talked to people. They've reached out. They messaged me on Facebook and let me know, like, I reached out to a couple that I talked to around this time last year. How you doing? How's it going? Some of them aren't in business anymore. We want to stay away from that, though. You get enough hustle, you'll last. Where we at? Where we at? I know we got Minneapolis in the house. Where you guys from? We got Minneapolis, New Jersey. We got any Southerners in here? Any Tennesseans? Any Floridians? I know we got somebody from Cali in here for sure. I know we got somebody from California in here. I could bet any amount of money on it. Put it in the chat. Let me see who we got. Who we got? Before I go on to the last tip, step 3 or tip 3. Man, I can't believe I was 9 minutes late. It was not letting me on this thing, man. I was having so many issues trying to log on here. It would log me on and just keep saying loading, loading, loading. So I had to turn my phone off and restart it. That's why I was late today. So the first step we talked about was commercial contracts, of course. Second thing we talked about was the local businesses. Honestly, man, those two things are so big. Everything else, the third tip I was gonna have, I'm not even gonna speak on it because it's obvious. Those two things are gonna be your main things. When you're starting out, it's just hard. I mean, like if I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, it's just hard your first year, you're 3, 4 months into this, 9 months into this, and you're coming across a slow season. It's gonna be hard. You're not gonna make as much money as you did in the summer and the spring, fall, whatever months. It's just part of it. The name of the game is to make sure all the money you're making right now, put it in the bank. That's what's gonna be step 3. Make sure you're saving right now. Make sure you're probably some of us are making more money than we ever do. I made $3,000 a month at the bank, or I probably made like $4,000, $4,500 a month at the bank. Started making $15,000, $20,000. I had never seen that type of money. Started going out spending, eating out at restaurants 5 times a week. You know what I'm saying? Buying stuff, and stuff adds up. You know what I mean? Took a couple vacations within 6 months of business. Like I had no business doing that, and I almost went broke in January of what was it, 2020. So that's going to be my last tip as we go into November. If you have some money stacked up, this is not the time to scale. We're not scaling going in